Have you ever wondered how a person keeps showing up for life when it feels like everything that they loved has fallen away? Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unbound and Awakened podcast. I'm your host, Poonam Premnath, and I'm really happy that you're here today. So, today I'm honored to sit with a woman whose story is a testament to a quiet courage it takes to keep moving forward when life becomes difficult. Rakshanda is not only a mother, she's a writer and an advocate. She is a living example of how we can hold space for heartbreak, for love, for hope, and all at once. Now, through her own profound experiences in her life, be it with her spouse, her mother, the journey of raising a beautiful child with special needs, she's found a way to transform her own pain into wisdom. And now she's lightening the path for others. And big part of our conversation is about that. She also has a book, Navigating Grief While Raising a Special Needs Child. This book is more than a guide, it's a companion for anyone who's learning to rebuild their life after loss while still showing up with tenderness and strength. And this conversation is an invitation to honor the raw, honest parts of healing. Whether you're a caregiver, a friend, or someone who knows the ache of grief, I hope you feel it seen in Rakshanda's story. Rakshanda, thank you so much for being here and for trusting us with your truth. It's a gift to share this space with you today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Poonam. It's a pleasure talking to you and the wonderful introduction that you gave. I don't think I've done anything big. I'm just a normal girl trying to live her life, maneuvering through everything that's happening. But I really appreciate you saying such kind words.
That's wonderful. I'm glad to hear that, Rakshanda. So, I just wanted to start by taking a step back. If you were to look back, what you first learned about receiving any kind of news like this, whether it be your child's diagnosis, what did that teach you about how can you find courage, hold on to love, right? Because it's easy to feel bitter in moments like that. And you're overwhelmed with too many emotions coming at the same time. So what did you learn in those moments?
Yeah, I mean, it takes time to figure out everything, but for me, courage actually I realized it over time. I didn't have it figured out initially, but courage begins with acceptance. It may sound very simple that what acceptance. I mean, yeah, I do accept what it is, but it's that's not the reality. Even medically and even the therapists they say that acceptance is the last part of your grief or loss, right? So I feel anything in life, whether it's a diagnosis of my son special need or any situation that you are going through in life, the first step is having the courage to actually accept it. When I say accept, I don't mean that stop being hopeful or give up, lose hope, and just accept what it is and that is all. No, what I mean by acceptance is embracing your reality with the right mindset, acknowledging it, and then choosing to move forward with strength and clarity and trying to get the best outcome possible in that scenario. Uh, when you accept, the second thing that comes is being ready for being vulnerable. And I truly believe that, vulnerability has a lot of power to it. We make it sound like it's something that weaks do, but even there are books on it. I like reading Brené Brown's book. So she is one of the authors who talks about vulnerability in detail. So anybody who's more interested, they can go look it up on her work. But for me, I really resonate with what she says. And you cannot be brave unless you're willing to embrace your vulnerabilities. willing to say, I'm scared, I don't know what to do, or I need help. The openness, that openness becomes your strength. If you allowed people to see that where you are lacking, what help you need, or you don't have it all figured out, that is where the truth strength lies. Trying to hide, trying to be embarrassed the way my son is, or he has a diagnosis, or trying to hide and be somebody you are not, I think then you cannot really solve what you have on your plate. So being vulnerable is very important. And what I mean by being vulnerable is not uh, oversharing or being dramatic. It's actually just being authentic, and you will figure it out. And that vulnerability, that part that you initially said, I'm scared, I don't know what to do, with authenticity, that will become your strength over time. And you will get the right people to help you, to show you the way. As it said, like when the student is ready, teacher appears. So that would only happen if you are accepting it and being vulnerable to it.
Wow, that was just such a beautiful, way you shared your story right there. There's so many things I can pick from. I love what you said is accepting, but consciously moving forward with the right mind. I think that's where most people struggle with because the education on how to work with your mind, I think, is lacking in our society. None of us really know unless we've had a heartbreak. That's when we take a step back and question a lot of these things. And I know the book you're talking about because I've read the book, Brene Brown's. I think Braving something. I think it's Braving something.
There are few that she has on these topic. Dare to Lead, Power of Vulnerabilities, talk that she has, and uh, so there works. I got all mixed up because I'm talking so much, but yeah, there's several books. But her work is in shame and vulnerability. She's a shame and vulnerability researcher, which is kind of odd for many people who don't relate to these things. They're like, what is that to this there to research about? And so
There's a No, there's a lot in there.
yeah.
And in fact, that book was given to me as a gift by one of my colleagues. He said, Poonam, you need to read this. And it was such a beautiful book and everything that you shared, sharing your truth, your vulnerability makes you authentic. Unfortunately, the society has a narrative that sharing your truth can be a form of weakness, but it's actually strength. And clearly asking for where you need help and allowing the right people to show up in your life. I think that's where I think the real magic is. And I think you conveyed that beautifully in what you just shared right now. So, what I want to do is, I know when you are going through these moments, right? Trying to be authentic, and you're trying to get the right people in your space. Somehow, you're surrounded by so many people who may not necessarily have had experiences that you've had, but they're close to you, but they don't necessarily know how to support you during moments like that, right? So, what would you convey to people like that? Like, what are meaningful ways someone like that can truly support their friend or a family member or a colleague during a loss like that?
Yeah, I think that's very important to have that out there. And before I say how somebody can support, I would want to mention that why it is difficult. I feel talking about grief and loss for many people, especially the ones who have fortunately not experienced anything personally in their life, significantly big in their life, it brings them, for everybody actually, it brings them face to face with something they can't fix, control, or understand, or fully understand. Uh, Grief is raw, unpredictable, and deeply personal, and that can be very unsettling in the world where we live in. Like, we all prefer quick fixes, solutions, and clean emotions, and which is easy to talk about. Uh, Especially in this time, it's all about, you know, if you're helping a friend, you're helping with the intention that, oh, this person needs grocery, I can get it delivered. This person needs a certain uh, help with a child, I can watch them for an hour. So you always approach your friends with, when you have a solution to provide. But what happens in emotional hurt is you don't always have a solution. And also, culturally, we shy away from difficult conversations, especially around death, divorce, breakup, pain, any kind of emotional suffering. Uh, we are more comfortable with distractions or surface level encouragement, saying that, oh, everything will be fine, don't worry about it, rather than just sitting in silence and simply acknowledging someone's heartbreak. Uh, because we don't always have the solution. And what I've learned is you don't always need a perfect word, you just need to be present. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say to someone who's emotionally hurt for anything, whether it's breakup, whether it's death or divorce, to just say, I don't know what to say, but I'm here for you. I think just that is what is needed, because people who are going through any kind of hurt, they don't want a solution from their friends or family. They just want that to be seen, that my pain is visible, it's not uncomfortable for you, and you are okay to be here with me even if I don't feel uh, comfortable talking about other things, or if I'm not in my best version, like a polished version. So that seeing that for your friend or family is all that is needed. And to get more comfortable with discomfort, we will be better humans to one another, not just in grief but in every part of our life, if we are okay to be okay to be with somebody when there is discomfort, when there is uh, pain. So yeah, that's what I would say, the takeaway for anybody who wants to support someone, just sit with them, try to make them feel that they are seen.
No, that's a very good advice that you gave because it's tougher also, right? Everybody has their own set of challenges, their own set of problems. When they haven't even come to terms with their own issues, they now don't know how to help someone else with their
Correct.
issues, right? But this is a very easy and a simple takeaway that you have shared. It sounds simple on the outside, but a very difficult thing for someone to embody because like I'm a trauma informed coach. I work with people who've been through a lot of trauma, and just the fact that I'm able to sit and listen quietly and deeply is a whole exercise in itself. It is a whole training process that I've been through, which is deep listening, which is the solution that you're giving, and that's where healing for the other person begins. And I wanted to reiterate that what she's telling you is actually true, because that's when you are going to help the other person heal. So I'm glad this came up in the conversation. So I want to touch a little bit on solitude. Right now we talked about how we are when we're around other people. Now let's talk about when you're by yourself, right? When you are going through moments where you're reflecting on your pain or your sense of safety or your belonging with yourself, how do you nurture that need for safety and belonging within yourself? How do you do that when during times of solitude?
So solitude, being alone, gives you a lot of clarity. But before I say that, I would give you an example. Like if you try to mix oil into water and you keep stirring continuously, it'll look like it's blended, like everything's holding together and it's one color liquid. But the moment you stop stirring and wait, it'll start to separate, because that at their core they are not truly integrated, oil and water, right? So that's exactly I feel about safety and belonging, especially when you are spending time alone, when you are in a phase of life in solitude. We are constantly distracted, busy with people, tasks, noise, trying to not have that silent moment. It can feel like you're okay, like everything's mixed, but often that's just stirring up. The moment that distraction stops, that you're left alone, you gain clarity. Like the real emotions rise to the surface, even if it's loneliness, fear, discomfort, but that's real, that's authentic, that I just talked about in my previous answer to your question, right? So, belonging also, so that's when your clarity comes, when you just sit and stop stirring, stop the noise around you, trying to be constantly fighting that loneliness and trying to be distracted, because belonging isn't about constant motion or noise, it's about stillness. And true safety doesn't come about what from what surrounds you, it comes from within you, right? So in solitudes, when the stirring stops, we get the chance to see what's really there. It's uncomfortable at first, of course, it's not easy, but if you sit with it for long enough, you begin to understand yourself. You learn how to be your own safe space. You stop chasing external belonging and start building in with, inside out. And I read it somewhere, I don't remember which book or which author. If anyone knows, they can mention it, but I read it, the problem with the society is nobody can sit 30 minutes without doing anything. So that's the problem, we don't know how to sit with ourselves, and you will be with yourself the longest, like more than any spouse, friend, child, parent, anyone. So when you are okay with that uncomfortableness of being with yourself, actually authentically feeling your emotions, then it's a different kind of power. I don't get bored anymore. I mean, I can be alone all day without talking to anybody, but I know how to entertain myself just with my thoughts or book or something. So that gives you another level of power. And that's what I would say. Stop steering, stop the noise. Try that'll give you a lot of clarity.
Yeah, no, that's good that you shared that because I think people don't understand what is resistance to pain, and what is integration. What you just shared beautifully was those two concepts, right? Which is very, very hard for any person to um, journey through or walk through because we're constantly distracting ourselves with a lot of noise around us. And that's how we mask. And we haven't questioned or we haven't resolved some of those things or felt those emotions within us. So that's the example I think you gave about the oil and water not mixing because you haven't taken the time to sit with it, right? So I think it's good for a listener to know how important solitude can be. It's not something that you chase externally, it's something that you have already within yourself. And it settles a lot for you, as you said, which is a source of strength. It builds another layer of confidence in terms of how you show up in the world. The next question here, Rakshanda, I want to touch on the whole idea of gratitude here, okay? Because now gratitude is an antidote for a lot of things that's heavy, and when you have so many uncertain and heavy emotions in your life, gratitude is an antidote for things like that, right? And sometimes we forget about it because we're so stuck inside the storm of pain that we're experiencing. And especially you're a good example. You're a really good example of how you're overcoming that despite of all the different things that you're going through, right? Be it loss of a child or your spouse. I know you mentioned about your mom, and the child you're talking about is a special needs child, and you live in a foreign country. I mean, you grew up in India and you live in the U.S. So there's a lot in here that you're navigating from a challenge perspective and a pain perspective. But what practices do you have in place in form of reminders so gratitude doesn't go away from your life? Just so, you feel connected to what is good and meaningful during those challenging times? What are practices that you personally have to keep you grounded?
Uh, as humans, especially us, like this demography, the privileged ones living in a safe country, safe neighborhood, we feel a sense of entitlement. Our bare minimum keeps rising. Like we have a certain bare minimum, which is, uh, of course, we take our health and basic stuff for granted. We don't even like try to be thankful for that. And then we should have a certain financial status. We should have family status. We should have our path for our kids. So all of that becomes a bare minimum in mind. So when you have that attitude of entitlement and having those things as bare minimum, that's when it's hard to find gratitude. But as I said about solitude, when you sit and you get that clarity and you reflect on your life, you realize that you can have 10,000 problems, but you have 100,000 blessings. Like it's always more blessings than just a normal day that we have. It's somebody's dream days. It's like so many quotes, so many things on Instagram saying how we all should be grateful. So I feel if you remove that sense of entitlement that you deserve what is good, like whether it's your good health, whether it's your safe environment, uh, then automatically you would start feeling that how grateful you should be. Like, why are you not grateful? If anyone, even when I was going through the toughest year of my life, even if I sit down and write problems, there will be a list. Can be a long list, can be a heavy list, but it's a list. But if you write down your blessing, it will not be, there won't be a list. I mean, it's beyond you to capture it in a piece of paper to make the blessings. Like sometimes if something goes in your eye, like a small particle of dust or a small, uh, like an allergy season, when you start sneezing, it bothers you so much. You forget all about all your problem and you just focus on that red eye or sneezing or a hurt in your elbow. Because those things, when it was working fine, it was invisible to you. You were taking it for granted. But when you have that conscious effort of not taking anything for granted, gratitude becomes way of life. You wake up in the morning and then you are grateful. Because what was the guarantee that you would wake up, right? So many people didn't wake up. People get heart attacks in their sleep. So when you have that shift, that reflection, you just become so grateful. You know, like I sometimes feel sad because I lost my husband, but at the same time, I'm so grateful that God gave me that time with my son. He's not getting that time with my son. Even if my son has his limitations of things he can do, I am grateful and I am privileged enough to see that journey, like as a mom. But my husband is not seeing that as a dad. So, when you think about the things that you are able to do, you're grateful, being grateful or gratitude becomes part of life. Uh, when you're stuck in traffic, you're worried, why am I getting late? It's so boring. But when you shift that, you're sitting in a nice air conditioned car, having a music system, you can listen to podcast, Apple Music, whatever you want, like whatever is your thing, or call a friend. Your focus shifts from what is going bad to what the things that you already have to be grateful for, right? So I think I that's all I would like to say.
That's, what I find remarkable about what you just shared, Rakshanda, is these are thoughts of a beautiful mind. Okay. And how is your mind so beautiful is basically the crux of what I'm trying to get at, right? And that comes, the answer in that is solitude, is reflection, is taking that time out to sit with emotions. So the right thoughts come into your system and your space, and you are able to get into the right mind. So you show up to serve who you need to serve, be your special needs child, your friends, and you're a working mom. So the people that you have to see when you go work. So all of this, this is how the integration happens. It spills through every area of your life, and that's that should be the goal of working and emotionally regulating yourself. So thoughts that come out of you are beautiful thoughts, and you're a beautiful human being on the inside. And Rakshanda is an example, a powerful example of that. And it's important that you take the time and study people like this. Like she's written a book, Navigating Grief While Raising a Special Needs Child. And this book basically offers a really good compassionate guide. So I want to put you on the spot here and ask you, Rakshanda, if you had to share one message on this book, which you feel like, you hope that every parent, it could be even a parent like myself who hasn't had the experience like what you did, what would be that message that you would like to share?
Yeah, so thank you for all the compliments on the book and on my answers. This book, it's actually a guidebook. I know it's not for everybody right now. I plan to write something for a broader audience in future. We'll see how that goes. But this book, I would say one thing that is important is accept your child the way he or she is, without comparison, without trying to make them somebody else, trying to focus on being the best version of themselves. And while you're doing that, trying to take out time for yourself to breathe, to enjoy that journey, and trying to find joy in small moments. Like for example, if uh, if your child spills something because he does not understand how things work, like if he's trying to put a glass at the edge of the table because he doesn't understand that that's not the right place to put that and it spills, instead of getting frustrated that that happened and he doesn't have the sensibility to know where to keep what, instead of being having that approach, which is a default approach, everybody has it, even I had it, try to also see some silliness in that. Like maybe that's funny too in certain ways. Like, how funny can your child be? I see that constantly in my son because he's certain things, he's just so, he does it so innocently and he's so being silly, like in a very cute, very innocent way, right? So try to see the joy in certain moments instead of getting all worked up of, because you can clean the mess. You can always get a second chance to do that thing better. But just accepting your child, trying to find some joy, some humor in your uh, struggle instead of just being too serious, because you don't get anything out of being too serious and too worked up with everything in life. So that's what I would give parents take away. In this guidebook, I do mention some things like breathing exercises or taking out time for yourself. Uh, so that's what that's what it matters. Like while you are trying to raise your child, try to enjoy that journey. You are a parent, doesn't matter what limitations it comes with. In the end, you are a parent, right? So a lot of people are struggling to be a parent. So see that beauty and try to be grateful for that.
That's nice, Rakshanda, because I feel like what happens is people take that one role of parenthood too seriously, and they pin all their hopes and desires onto this one person, and whatever that they haven't sorted out within themselves somehow shows up on the child. And
Yeah.
I like the message that you shared is this person was a gift in your life. Enjoy what they have to offer you. The joy of just being who they are and allowing them to be in their element and work with what they are here to do and allow them to become the best version of whatever that they want to do. You work with that energy. I like that perspective shift that you had versus the storm that most parents are stuck inside, taking the parenthood a little too seriously, right? And what happens is part of the reason why we get stuck in a storm like that is because we are surrounded by a lot of negativity. There's a lot of noise, there's a lot of complaints. And how do you like for yourself, for example, I'm sure you also have a lot of negativity and noise around you, right? There's constant complaints going on. So you get thrown in different storms throughout your day in your everyday life. So how do you protect your energy? How do you protect your thought system so it remains clean and keep your heart open even in those types of environments? How do you do that?
So, Poonam, honestly, I don't think I was able to protect myself. I don't always protect myself from negativity, but what I do is I don't allow myself to stay there for too long. Over time, I've realized that we live in a time where there is an overwhelming pressure of to be constantly happy and positive, like the whole social media filled with motivational quotes, self-help books, podcasts, endless content on how to stay positive. But in chasing that idea, I think we have created the opposite. We have made it harder to accept the full spectrum of human emotions. Uh, Only positivity and happiness is not just the human emotion, there's a full spectrum. It comes with anger, sadness, a lot of different negative emotions. So I don't think you can protect yourself. You have to not feel pressurized to feel a certain way, right? And when it comes to a physical pain, like if you have a fever, you won't go read a quote and feel that, oh, my temperature is fine, I am feeling 100% fine. But when it comes to like emotional or mental problem, we go both sides. We try to uh, elongate that process and be in our misery for a very long time. And at the same time, we also try to have these outside fixes by reading a book or reading a quote or watching a podcast or listening to music. I don't think those outside fixes work. You have to go through the full spectrum of human emotion, and there's nothing wrong with that. Even in nature, right? It's not healthy to uh, not expect a downtime. Like even trees shed their leaves. In US, we have this fall season, right? We see even India, maybe, it's Padchad is what they say. So there is this time where trees shed their leaves. Most plants don't bloom all year. Animals hibernate. But somehow humans resist any season that feels uncomfortable. We fear sadness, grief, stillness so much that we want to bypass them and with quick fixes and feel good mantras. So I feel healing doesn't come from avoiding these hard emotions, it comes from honoring them. We are never meant to bloom all year long. And once you allow to feel that, you realize that it's not negativity or sadness is not bad, it's just normal. You don't have to protect yourself, you just have to not sit there forever. You don't have to be in that season, you have to bloom eventually. So go through your emotion process and do whatever it needs for you to uh, come out of that, but you don't have to rush it at the same time. uh, I feel there is a peace when you're trying to be real and you're trying to have a sustainable method of healing.
No, that's very good because I think I heard this in one of the podcasts. Is like a human mind is usually making choices between pain and pleasure, right? And as far as possible, the bypassing aspect that you talked about is we seek more of the pleasure, and we try to move away from pain. And as a society, we think pain is bad, so let's do everything we can to stay away from that. And I like how you are openly suggesting to experience full range of human emotions and know that this not come from a place of the polarized thinking of good bad, instead having an open mind of it is what it is and just sitting with it and putting yourself in a place of how nature evolves because it's cyclical. As you said, we have many seasons, and just as trees shed their leaves, new branches grow, flowers come, and some of the seeds planted. Not every seed is sprouted, and flowers bloom at their own divine timing. And as you watch nature, there's so many lessons that nature itself is giving us in terms of how we can regulate this dance between pain and pleasure that we keep, you know, playing hip hop from one corner to the other, right? So I really like the message you shared here. I think it will resonate with the audience so they understand how to navigate some of these things. So let's touch a little bit about pain, right? So let's talk. I want to expand a little bit more there, right? Now, pain, whether it's big or small, um, sometimes what happens is it puts you in a box where you feel isolated and you feel like you're stuck in a corner and you're all inside that box of pain because you're trying to experience those emotions at that time, right? So, how do you like? What are some of the tools that you use if you're stuck in that box? How do you learn? How have you taught yourself to sit with that emotion and slowly process it?
So I feel we get stuck in that box because we feel overwhelmed with everything that's going around, and we want to solve everything long term. Like we need assurance that things will be fine, or validation of, if, for example, if my son cannot read right now, how will he read when he is in college or something, like when he's in high school? How, what will be his future? So thinking long term sometimes doesn't do us any good. It just puts us in the loop of worrying about things that's beyond our control at this time. And just help us not basically that worry basically pulls us down to be the best at this moment. So I feel sometimes you just have to take one day at a time, maybe 1 hour at a time. Just try to see what you can do best at this time to make your day a little bit better, and not go in that loop because you're trying to find a long term solution. That doesn't mean be in denial and not do any long term planning. Do it, but not at the time when you're feeling very overwhelmed, very stressed already. At that time, just try to learn the art of detachment and try to not solve everything right there and then. Just take 1 hour, 1 day at a time. Try to focus on what is in front of you at that time, and then look at the bigger picture later. So that step back is needed because as humans, as I said, we cannot solve everything just by remunerating in our head and thinking about it constantly.
Yeah, I think what you are trying to say is just emphasize on the aspect of pause and
Yeah.
reflect and have moments of those installed in your day. And it's okay to pause as long as you want. Sounds like that's what you're trying to say till you fully processed it, because you have to work with what is in front of you now at that point in time instead of
Yeah.
bypassing it. Sit with it is, I think, what you're trying to say, which is a beautiful message in itself. So I want to, and a lot of things that you've shared, Rakshanda, today, and it leans on spirituality, right? Some of these concepts, the right way of thinking, processing emotions, spirituality touches on a lot of these things. So obviously I want to know, what is your connect with that? And how has that supported you through all your tough times that you were carrying through on your own? What does spirituality mean to you?
So there are two words in Arabic, like so I do follow prayer and spirituality both. And there are two words in Arabic. One is called taskiya, that means purification of the soul. What it means is uh, it's a constant inner work, purifying your heart from traits like envy, arrogance, anger, and replacing them with patience, gratitude, humility. It's a journey of becoming better human being. So purification of soul. So that is one part of spirituality to me. And the second part of spirituality to me is there's a word called tawakkul. Both these words I'm describing in a very simple way, but That's what the essence of it is. Tawakkul means being grateful in times of hardship. Uh, Trusting that there is a plan by God, and it's, you may not understand that plan right now, but it has something good for you in it. And even if I don't understand it, I'm grateful for what I have right now, and I believe that things will get better. So, spirituality, to summarize, it's about state of your heart, your intention, and your relationship with your creator. And it's not just about believing, but becoming something. It's how you treat people, how you handle trials, how you carry your soul uh, through hard times and easy times in this world with grace and submission. So that's what spirituality would mean to me.
That's wonderful. I've never heard such a beautiful answer throughout my own podcasting journey when I've spoken to so many people. Each one brings their own flavor, but this is the most beautiful response I've heard from someone. So I'm really deeply touched by your response. What strikes me the most about what you shared is the purification of the soul. And we all come with a certain blueprint into a lifetime. And how do you align the lessons that you come here to learn with your free will? And most times we are trying to resist the lessons that we're here to learn. And as what you just shared about the whole purification process and learning to come from a place of gratitude, be it good times or bad times, is a good message of alignment between what your blueprint is versus your free will. So that's the reason why I really love your answer so much. You said it in a very simple way, which I think most people complicate it. So I'm sure this will resonate with a lot of people. So thank you for that. I'm just going to end with a last question here, Rakshanda. What is that one truth you want to leave behind, be it for your child, be it for people listening to this? What do you want them to remember you the most about what you've learned and what you want to leave behind?
I feel like the one thing that we all should learn is there is always a plan in good times or bad times. Just believe and keep doing your part. Like, don't try to control how things can be, because you can never control. What I think you should work on is how you react to a situation and what's your attitude towards it is. Uh, Keep spirituality as your backbone and try to control your reactions and attitude in life. And in the end, everything does work out. And it's not just about me as a person. It's, it's like, I feel like it's like a big rose bush, right? Like one rose, one bird may come up and then bloom and then die, but then the plant has a much bigger purpose to it. One flower can die, but flower is going to live, right? So it's the whole universe, the whole world is much beyond just one person as me. It's much beyond that. We do focus. For me, I am important. I want to do everything for myself. Everybody wants to do that. But if you take a step back and look, that is not what life is about. It's about leaving this world a better place for others to follow. So try to make yourself better, keep spirituality as your backbone, and uh, try to control your attitude and reactions in life.
Oh, that's nice. That's a beautiful message to leave behind because I think that's what the new generation needs to hear it the most because I think so much of that is lost with this instant gratification lifestyle that we're moving into with all the distractions, be it with social media or the type of content that comes, the type of movies that run. The message that you're sharing is lost and on all of those platforms. And this is important for, theme for that needs to be reiterated over and over again. So I'm glad you shared that. So I just want to end it right here saying I want to thank you so much for being with us today and for witnessing this conversation with Rakshanda. I hope her story offered you some of the most comforting responses, a feeling of comfort, perspective shifts, a simple reminder that you're not alone, no matter what season you're walking through. And if this episode spoke to you, I would be grateful if you take a moment to subscribe to Unbound and Awakened so you never miss any episode or conversation. And if you know someone who might be carrying their own grief or we could use a little hope in community right now, please consider sharing this episode with them and connect them with Rakshanda. Rakshanda, tell people how can they connect with you.
Yeah, I mean, Instagram or email ID, or just look up my. I think Instagram is the best. Instagram. I am on Facebook, but I don't do that as much. But Instagram is the best way to reach out.
Yeah, and I'll put your Instagram handle on the show notes as well. I think it's Pain to Power or something like that, right? Yeah, I'll put those on the notes. And to everyone else listening and for caring and for being a part of this space, this is where all the real stories will live for you. Until next time, take good care of yourself and your heart. Bye for now.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Poonam.
Absolutely. It was an absolute pleasure.